Major League Soccer has been called by some a bit of a retirement league, but one thing you can't argue against is that the stars that they're bringing over, people want to watch them. And Robert Lewandowski is one of those. He's joined Chicago Fire. As Lizzy was mentioning, he played at Inter Miami in midweek, albeit losing by 3-2. But before that game, Lizzy had a chance to sit down with the Polish legend. Here's a little clip from that interview.
What was your perception of MLS before joining the league, and how do you think your style of play adapts well to the league?
I know that the MLS, that's this kind of league that is very physically. I know that the players they're ready to run, they're ready to fight. But I like this kind of this kind of style of football, and of course I can play with the high pressure and with playing from counter-attack. It depends what we want to do, what kind of situation we have on the pitch, on the field. So I know that the league and the players, they not only they're growing, but they are doing step by step and they're going forward. So I see the difference. Even that I spoke with my friends that they played in MLS. They told me a lot about the league. They told me a lot about the life in USA. But also I was watching some highlights from the game, so I know it. What kind of football is in MLS. So I think that I spend every year also in USA for Tune, playing on this stadium. Maybe not all of them, but I know that what's going on around. So yeah, I hope that will be the great time for me as well.
And you can see the full interview with Robert Lewandowski on the ESPN FC YouTube channel. He's 37 now, Stevie, but he also scored 23 goals at Barcelona last season. Doesn't really show any sign of slowing down as far as goals are concerned. How do you think he'll do in Major League Soccer?
Oh, I mean, come on. Listen, as long as he gets service, he's going to score plenty of goals. I mean, that's what the key is for Chicago and for Lewandowski. Whether it was Bayern, whether it was Barcelona, regardless of what age he was, when you give him service, the ball's going to end up in the back of the net. And so, listen, Chicago, if they've got any brains, they don't just go and get him. They have to make sure that they get service for him. So that, to me, is the key. I don't think there's any question that... Well, I don't think there's any questions against Lewandowski. That's the bottom line. You know exactly what you're going to get. He knows exactly what he's going to deliver. Everybody knows what he's capable of, even at 37. So yeah, the key for Chicago is not to worry about Lewandowski. It's about worrying how they get him the ball in the box. Because if they do that, then he's going to score 20 odd, maybe even 30 goals a season in MLS.
Yeah, 6th right now in Major League Soccer, Chicago. Definitely one of the contenders. Lizzy, we've seen many players come from overseas to the United States and play in Major League Soccer over the years. The ones that buy into it are successful. It's simple. The ones that don't are on their way within a year or two. From your sit down, and the interview was like 13 minutes. I'm sure you spent a lot longer with Robert Lewandowski. It seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is someone that is really looking forward to embracing life in this country and also in Major League Soccer.
Correct. He's very excited about the project. When I asked him what in particular attracted him to Chicago Fire, he not only mentioned the league as a whole, but the project being led by head coach Greg Berhalter. He spoke about the chemistry that he developed with the coach during his visits, during his interviews, and before deciding to put pen to paper. He was really excited about what could be the future of this project and being a part of that. So he's really buying into what Chicago can be in a few months' time. Now, both parties, Berhalter and Lewandowski, are going to need a little bit of patience. Berhalter was asked after the Inter Miami versus Chicago match how long it'll take Lewandowski to adapt to MLS. And he said, like any other player, a little bit of time. A reminder, he's been with the club for about 5 to 6 weeks now, not for that period of time training. And the game against Inter Miami was his debut. So the chemistry with players is still developing. His chemistry with the coach is still developing, but he's really, really excited about getting that going and being that leading man for Chicago. I really don't see a world in which this project doesn't work out, given how involved all parties are.
So big 12 months, Steve. Yeah, sorry, on you go.
Can I just say that, and this is just an observation, not being close to MLS, but as far as I'm concerned, there's a different attitude towards the players or the big names players that are coming into MLS now. You know, when I was coaching in MLS, there were so-called superstars coming to MLS who weren't putting it in. Let me put it that way. You know, they did on occasion when it suited. But I think now what we're seeing in MLS is the big name players they're signing are bringing a different attitude to what, 15 years ago. So it's, you know, the likes of Griezmann, you've got Messi. I mean, all these guys are putting it in. You know, Ibrahimovic was putting it in when he came. You know, and that's fantastic. Yes, they're earning a lot of money, but so were guys 15, 20 years ago earning a lot of money. But they weren't putting it in the way that superstars are today. So it's just a general point. But from my observation, most of these guys that come now, they're making a big difference. And I'm expecting Lewandowski will do the same thing.
I certainly hope that he does, because it's a big 12 months for football in this country. We've got a new commissioner that should be announced pretty shortly to replace the outgoing Don Garber. Also, there's this quick league to wrap things up from February through until May next year, and then it takes on the same calendar, Stevie. Now, ever since you came over here to the Boston Bulldogs back in the day before you went to the Revolution, they've had the kind of spring through autumn, fall. Important that along with the new commissioner and along with the new calendar, MLS gets things spot on and gets things right to take it to the next level.
Well, this is going to be a huge year for MLS in terms of how it pans out, because it was spoken about when I remember sitting down in pre-season meetings with the league and all the other coaches and all the other teams, and the talk 15, 20 years ago was, you know, how is it possible that we can get on the same calendar? And it just didn't seem possible. And I'm still, if I'm being honest, trying to figure out how it's going to work. Because on the East Coast in particular, I mean, I just don't understand. I don't know how they're going to do it. Now, I don't know enough about it, but I just, in my shrapnel cluttered brain, I'm finding it hard to figure out how you play games in December and January and February in Gillette Stadium when it's whatever below, and there'll be no fans there. That's kind of where I am now. I've been wrong before, which I'm sure you know, Mark. But I'm kind of scratching my head to figure out how they can do it. So I absolutely can't wait to see how it pans out. Obviously, I hope it's successful. It would be great to get in line with the rest of the world. But I'm still sceptical of how it's going to work, particularly on the East Coast. And again, I don't know a lot about it. I haven't seen the fixture list, but I'm assuming at the very least teams are going to have to play 9, 10, 11 games away from home in a stretch because you can't play in the weather. Again, I don't know if that's correct, but yeah, I can't get my head around it, quite frankly.